Capcom wants Leon dead. I'm just gonna say it straight up and I'll prove it in this video. They want that man dead. Underground, 6 feet deep, gone forever, no more Leon. Hello everyone and welcome back to The Elephant, the series where I discuss the biggest elephants in the room regarding each of our main Resident Evil characters. Today's subject is Leon Kennedy, and we'll be discussing Capcom's desperate want for his death as well as their need to keep him alive. And we'll also be discussing where his story could be going from here. So without any further ado, let's get straight into it. For over a decade now, Capcom has been not so subtly showing us that Leon is done with this shit. He doesn't want to do it, and he usually ends up getting pulled into something rather than volunteering to do it. As a matter of fact, Leon's the only one of the big four who has never volunteered to do anything. He was dragged into literally every mission he's ever done, with him just being in the wrong place at the wrong time during RE2, and then practically being forced to join the government after the Raccoon City incident, and I guess he was a founding member of the DSO alongside Adam Benford, but yet again, he didn't really have another choice. So after years and years of basically forcefully being sent on all these insane missions and watching hundreds of his comrades and even close friends he made along the way die right before his very eyes, Leon grows increasingly more cynical and less optimistic about the world. The first time we caught a glimpse of this was all the way back in RE Damnation. After figuring out that the US and Russia had both been watching over the entire outbreak and doing nothing about it, Leon comes to the realization that he had been lied to and used as a pawn by the very people who were supposed to be protecting him. That's when he says this:
"In the end, nothing's really changed,"
before hanging up on Hunnigan and leaving his hotel room. But even before this, in the intro for the RE4 remake, we see Leon reflecting on the trauma that he carried over from the Raccoon City incident. But by the time Resident Evil Vendetta takes place, which is sometime in 2014, most likely less than a year after RE6 ended, Leon is completely wiped. The decades of trauma had finally caught up with him and hit him so hard that when Chris and Rebecca came to inform him about the return of Los Illuminados and another zombie outbreak happening, he straight up refused to help them. That is, until of course a bunch of zombies came and shot up his hotel and kidnapped Rebecca. Then he kinda had to do something. But this scene in RE Vendetta is actually extremely important in understanding Leon's condition later on in the series, with him saying it's like he's stuck in a loop, and instead of seeing an end to it, it just keeps getting worse, before asking what the point of it all has been. But of course, there's no time to think about that because they have to go after the bad guy and stop the outbreak, just like they had done so many times before. Then in RE9, it was literally a do or die situation, with him and presumably everyone else who had been in Raccoon City at the time of the 1998 outbreak being infected by a monstrous strain of the T-virus that would kill them all if a cure wasn't found. And over the course of this game, we see Leon being physically broken down, and it gets to a point where he's damn near immobilized and unable to move. But he still presses forward and does what he needs to for the mission, cause when has it ever mattered what condition he's in? As long as the world needs saving, that's all that's important, right? But now it's time to discuss this. At first it just seems like any ordinary bad ending, but I think it's a lot deeper than that. I think this, or some version of it at least, was intended to be the canon ending to RE9, cause looking back at the degradation of Leon's character throughout the series, or even just this game alone, it feels like the entire thing was leading up to the death of Leon Kennedy. But then Capcom backed out at the last second, which brings us to the real topic of today's video. But before we get into that, if you guys could please hit the like and subscribe buttons down below to help me reach 10,000 subscribers, it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you all very much, and now with all that out of the way, let's get back to the video. Capcom wants to kill Leon off and give him a heroic ending, but they're reluctant to actually follow through with it because they're scared that killing Leon might lose a bunch of fans and therefore cost them money. I imagine Capcom thinks it would cause a similar backlash to what killing Joel did for The Last of Us 2, only way worse since Leon's been one of gaming's most iconic characters for almost 30 years now. People often talk about the similarities between Resident Evil 4 and Village, as well as the similarities between the main protagonist of each game, with Leon S. Kennedy and Ethan Winters sharing many things in common at this point in their journeys. I think Capcom did this on purpose. I think Resident Evil Village's climactic ending, while being one of, if not the greatest ending in all of gaming history, it was also just Capcom testing the waters to see what response they would get when they kill off a main character. And seeing as the fan response was mostly positive, they decided to move forward with the idea of killing Leon in Resident Evil 9. And also, I think one of the reasons Capcom has been pushing Chris so hard in the series is to make him more well known or more of a main character than Leon is, so they'll still have a poster boy for the series after getting rid of him. But that is a topic for another video. But yet again, Capcom chickened out and they decided to make that a second half-assed non-canon ending to the game. And they gave Leon a wife as well, which could mean one of two things. Either we'll be seeing him stick around for a while because Capcom has more story for the guy, or he'll go the way of the last married man that we saw in the series. Only time will tell. And now looking back with this new perspective, it seems like every Leon appearance since RE2 has been leading up to his unfortunate demise. And that makes one thing clearer than ever. Capcom wants Leon dead, but they don't want to suffer the repercussions of killing him off. And with the ending of RE9 seemingly setting up multiple new story points for him with his wife and the little piece of dialogue that we got, which suggests that we may be getting a new Leon and Chris game soon, it's safe to say that we will indeed be seeing more of Leon S. Kennedy. Which is great, because personally he's my favorite character in gaming history, but just don't be too surprised if sooner or later Capcom cuts his story short. Subscribe.
In the backseat driving me, I had to take the wheel, check the past me, rhyming, see I always kept it real. They gon' ask me why I'm here, I just do what I feel. Took the back street grind and put the pedal to the steel.